If I told you that your breakthrough wasn't being held back by lack but by revelation, you'd lean in. If I told you that the overflow you've been praying for is not just in your giving but in the hidden keys of my word, would you stay until the final word? Because I am about to uncover the patterns buried deep in my scriptures, truths that even seasoned believers overlook. So I invite you, child of my kingdom, take a moment to quiet your distractions and stay with me until the end. Because I'm not just speaking into your life, I'm building you into something the enemy can't tear down, an outpouring, a well, a living gate of divine overflow. This is not about formulas, it's about faith alignment, not about chasing prosperity, but about receiving what's already been authorized in heaven. So many of my children tithe, yet still live in cycles. So many give faithfully, yet still feel like they're falling behind. And the reason is this: they've been taught one law while neglecting the others. But today, I reveal what the Bible has always held, that tithing was never the only key to overflow. It was part of a much larger framework, a divine ecosystem of obedience, vision, multiplication, stewardship, and prophetic action. Say it with me now. I'm ready for more. Speak it again. Bold, louder. I'm ready for overflow. The Bible was never meant to be a ritual manual. It's a blueprint for dominion. And when you treat it like a treasure map, you will uncover layers that activate unusual blessings, creative downloads, and divine opportunities. One of the first keys hidden in Scripture is in Genesis 26:12. It says, "Then Isaac sowed in that land, and reaped in the same year 100-fold, and the Lord blessed him." But the land was in famine. The economy was dry. Isaac didn't sow because the land looked good. He sowed because I told him to. And therein lies the first overflow law. Obedience trumps conditions. Your breakthrough does not depend on your surroundings. It depends on your surrender. If you've been saying when the time is right, you've already missed the time. The moment I speak is the moment you move. Declare now. I move when Jesus speaks. That is the seed that invites the 100-fold. Not the act alone, but the timing and trust behind it. Isaac didn't tithe into good soil. He sowed into God's word. And I multiplied his yield not because of the soil's promise, but because of his posture. So many are trying to control the outcome while ignoring the instruction. That's why your giving can feel dry. You've made tithing the ceiling, not the foundation. But today, I blow open the gates of your understanding. Let me take you into Malachi 3. You've read verse 10, but few walk into verse 11. And I will rebuke the devourer for your sakes. The tithe opened the window, but what activates the protection is your posture after the tithe. When you operate in faithful stewardship, you tell heaven you're not just a donor, you're a developer. And I can trust developers with dominion. That's why I ask you to not just be consistent, but to become prophetic in your habits. Listen to what I whisper. Obey when it's inconvenient. Write when I say write. Move when I say move. Build even when it looks barren. Overflow does not land in comfort zones. It lands in obedience zones. Speak this now. I am positioned for obedience overflow. Some of you right now feel the weight of my presence. That stirring in your heart isn't emotion. It's recognition. Your spirit is identifying these patterns as truth. This isn't just theory. It's the pulse of my word, beating under the surface of your situation. And if you feel that quickening, I want you to act in faith. Like this video now. Let it be a prophetic action, not for an algorithm, but for agreement. Every time you respond to revelation, you move into activation. I'm not finished. Another powerful key comes from the life of Joseph. You've seen his rise to power. But how did Joseph go from prisoner to palace manager overnight? It wasn't just favor, it was preparation. Genesis 41:48 reveals this. Joseph gathered all the food and stored it in cities. He was not just prophetic, he was strategic. That's the next overflow law. Preparation protects provision. Many pray for overflow but build no container for it. You want miracles, but you plan for minimum. You ask me to bless your business, but haven't built a system that can hold five-fold expansion. Overflow will break you if you're not structured to carry it. I'm not holding it back, I'm holding it for you, and that's why I whisper at 3 a.m. Why I show you visions in worship. Why you keep sensing ideas that don't leave your spirit. Because I'm showing you how to build the storehouses before the increase comes. And now I ask you, if this message is watering your soul and shaking your thinking, to consider supporting this ministry that makes it possible. Support our ministry with super thanks of $111 to support the ministry. It's more than a gift, it's an echo of your yes. These prophetic messages take united team effort, hours of spirit-led planning, content creation, and stewardship. Your giving helps spread my voice into homes, phones, and nations. If you feel led, sow boldly, and let this act of support become a seed into your own overflow. We are building this together, line by line, key by key. I've just begun revealing what most believers miss in plain sight. I want you to hear me clearly. Overflow isn't delayed because of what you lack. It's delayed because of what you haven't yet unlocked. You've believed part of my word, but not all of it. You've tithed, but never asked me where to sow strategically. You've prayed but never acted on the vision I gave you. You've hoped, but haven't walked it out. This is the moment of alignment. And one of the next great wealth keys I embedded in my word is hidden inside Luke 16:10. Whoever is faithful with very little is also faithful with much. You're asking me for much, but I'm still watching how you handle little. Your overflow is attached to your faithfulness in the invisible seasons, how you treat the 8 people listening before the 8,000 arrive, how you handle the $80 you steward before I release $80,000, how you honor the quiet instructions before the platform comes. Overflow follows the ones who can carry purpose without applause. Say it now. I will be faithful in the unseen. Don't think I'm silent, I'm inspecting your pattern. I'm watching how you organize, how you store, how you budget, how you plan. Because what you do with 1 talent reveals what you're ready to do with 10. I want to pour more. I want to entrust you with blueprints, but I will not release them where dishonor lives. That's why the next law of overflow is simple but ignored. Honor multiplies heaven's flow. Many believers give, but dishonor. They disrespect the vessels I send. They ignore the voice of wisdom. They withhold encouragement, belittle instruction, and treat sacred space like common ground. But what you dishonor, you disconnect from. Honor is not about flattery, it's about positioning. It says, Lord, I see what you placed in them, and I bless it. When you honor what I place on others, you access what I placed in them. This is why the Shunammite woman received a miracle son in 2 Kings 4. She honored Elisha, not with just words, but with room. She made room for a prophet and received what her body could never produce on its own. If you want me to bless your house, make room for the right voices. Say it. I make room for the prophetic. You need to know. Some of you are too full of noise to hear strategy. You've filled your feed with fear, your calendar with distractions, your mind with performance. You're looking for overflow while feeding on depletion. But I can't fill a soul that's already flooded with counterfeits. Empty yourself again. Come back to simplicity, back to stillness, back to the place where my whisper is louder than your worry. That's where overflow begins. And now I show you another mystery, the law of Spirit-led work. You thought I only bless faith, but I also bless diligence. Proverbs 14:23 says, all hard work brings a profit, but mere talk leads only to poverty. You've dreamed, you've prayed, but have you built? Too many of my children want harvest but never sow effort. They want miracles but won't write the email. They want downloads but won't show up daily. Child, I need you to understand. I do not bless random acts. I bless consistent movement with me. This means you don't just pray for overflow. You prepare for it. You wake up and treat your assignment like it matters. You structure your day like you expect favor to knock. Speak it. My hands are diligent and my heart is aligned. That's why the Proverbs 31 woman prospered. Not because she was loud, but because she was disciplined. She bought land, made goods, sold merchandise, honored her household, and feared the Lord. She wasn't just holy, she was productive. And I called her blessed. That's your blueprint. This is the era of Spirit-led builders, not just dreamers. Builders, movers, carriers of my DNA and my diligence. If I give you the oil, you must gather the jars. If I open the door, you must walk in and take the land. Do not sit on the gift I gave you. Do not bury the gold I handed you. Do not let your voice remain silent in the very hour I created you to speak. I am calling for your movement. Say it now boldly. I am moving in divine instruction. This is how overflow unlocks. When faith becomes a plan, when belief becomes structure, when obedience becomes blueprint. If you're feeling something stir in your soul, that is my spirit moving inside of you. This word is not general, it is surgical. I am digging out old thinking and replacing it with kingdom wealth strategy. This is not motivational. This is prophetic renovation. I want you to pause and like this message now as a spiritual act. Let that simple action say, Jesus, I'm receiving this fully. Let it be seen in heaven and known on earth that you're saying yes to more. There's still more to release. The storehouses of heaven are not empty. And neither is this message. Let me continue showing you the principles I embedded across Psalms, Proverbs, Genesis, Luke, and Matthew. Real wealth keys that empower and establish. You've been faithful to keep listening, and now I reveal to you what I only entrust to those who don't walk away after the first blessing. I honor the ones who press in past convenience, who lean into the uncomfortable truths, who don't just want my hand, they want my ways. This next overflow principle is buried inside a story you know well, but few ever dig out the hidden instruction. The parable of the talents. Matthew 25:14-30 describes a master entrusting his servants with talents. 1:5, 1, 2, and 1, 1. Two of them multiplied what was given. One buried it. The ones who multiplied were rewarded with more responsibility and more resource. But the one who buried it, out of fear, was not just ignored, he was judged. Why? Because fear is a thief of faith-based movement. I never gave you a gift to be buried in your past. I gave you talents to be traded, developed, multiplied. Yes, tithing is a form of giving, but multiplying what I gave you is a form of worship. When you create from my whispers, you honor me. Say it now. I refuse to bury what Jesus gave me. The overflow principle here is this. God trusts multipliers with more, not wishers, not hoarders, not those waiting for the right time. I gave you time. I gave you wisdom. I gave you ideas. I gave you breath. Multiply it. You're praying for more money, but I've given you the seed of mastery in your hands. You want more audience, but I've already given you words. You want more results, but I've already given you instruction. You're not stuck, you're saturated with tools, but afraid to use them. And I break that fear now. Say this out loud and shake off hesitation. I'm not afraid of success in Jesus. Yes, because you were born to lead with excellence, you were born to prosper with purpose. You were born to solve problems through your gifts. I did not create you to blend into systems of scarcity. I anointed you to reform them with kingdom supply. Now lean in deeper because the next law is this. Divine overflow begins where forgiveness flows. Many of you tithe. You serve. You plan. You believe. But your flow is blocked. Not because of your faith, but because of your bitterness. You cannot operate my financial principles while housing spiritual toxins. Mark 11:25 says, "And when you stand praying, if you hold anything against anyone, forgive them, so that your Father in heaven may forgive your sins." That's not just about salvation. That's about alignment. Unforgiveness clogs your spirit. It interrupts clarity. It distorts decision-making. And I cannot pour overflow into a soul that refuses to release. You don't forgive because they deserve it. You forgive because you need space for your destiny to breathe. Let them go. Let what they said go. Let how they overlooked you go. Let what they withheld go. Your overflow is waiting on the other side of release. Speak it in faith. I forgive and I flow. And the moment you do, clarity returns. Peace floods. Decisions align. You begin to hear my voice with sharpness again. And in that state, overflow finds fertile ground. Now hear this next principle. This one is the difference between a full moment and a full life. Overflow multiplies where vision is written. Habakkuk 2. 2 doesn't just say to dream. It says to write the vision and make it plain. If you cannot articulate where your obedience is taking you, then you have built no map for blessing to follow. You say you want more, but have you written the plan for what you'll do with more? You ask me for funding, but where's the blueprint? You want to scale the ministry, but where's the outline? Overflow does not visit disorganization. Write it, define it, make it plain. That vision board, that journal, that digital doc, it's not just productivity, it's prophecy. You're not just planning, you're preparing the way for my hand to move. Say this now. I will steward overflow with clear vision. I've shown you patterns in your sleep. I've dropped ideas into your quiet time. I've whispered in the middle of storms. You didn't imagine that. That was me. I'm speaking to you not as a beggar, but as a builder. You are my kingdom administrator, and I am funding what is written, not what is wished. So grab the pen again, sharpen the vision, clarify the next step. Clean your desk, clean your heart, clear your mind. My voice is not silent. You just need margin to receive. If this word is piercing your spirit and you know I'm speaking directly to the assignments you've delayed, I invite you, like this message now. Do it not for habit, but for honor. Let your agreement be visible. Let your yes echo through the atmosphere. There is more to give you, more strategies, more clarity, more supernatural blueprints for managing and multiplying overflow without burnout, without guilt, and without compromise. You are now walking in a realm few enter, not because I have withheld it, but because few remain long enough to unlock it. Overflow was never about volume. It was always about access. And access comes through spiritual understanding, not religious repetition. I'm not just teaching you how to receive money. I'm teaching you how to manage miracles. This next key is vital. Overflow accelerates when you align your confession with heaven's decree. Too many of my people speak lack while praying for provision. They repeat cycles of, I can't, I'm stuck, this won't work, and then wonder why doors don't open. But my word says in Proverbs 18:21, death and life are in the power of the tongue, and those who love it will eat its fruit. You're eating what you're speaking. If you want to shift your flow, you must shift your language. My kingdom does not partner with fear. I don't anoint defeatism. I back up those who speak my promises, not those who echo their pain louder than my truth. Say it boldly now. My words will agree with Jesus. Don't underestimate the power of your mouth. What you declare in frustration, the enemy uses against you. But when you speak faith, even in the wilderness, you break open rivers. This is why I tell you to declare, I am walking in overflow, even when it looks barren, even when the report says, not enough. You're not denying reality. You're declaring kingdom authority over it. Let me take you into Genesis 1. My first act as creator wasn't to analyze the darkness. It was to speak light. I didn't describe the chaos. I dictated change. And I'm calling you to do the same. Dictate the future. Speak into the unknown. Call it done before it manifests. That is not arrogance. That is faith in full maturity. Now receive this. Overflow becomes sustainable when it flows through purpose. You are not born to be a container. You were born to be a conduit. When you see money as mission fuel, you'll never lack again. If you see your business as a platform to sow light, to heal, to restore, to elevate others, then I will trust you with more. Deuteronomy 8:18 says, remember the Lord your God, for it is He who gives you the power to get wealth, that He may establish His covenant. Did you hear that? I empower you to gain wealth not for luxury, but for covenant advancement. That means your job, your idea, your service, your sales. It's not random. It's divine placement. It's how I fund the gospel, how I bring justice to the poor, how I raise up schools, rebuild cities, feed the widow, empower the remnant. Overflow is not about you, it's about what I'm doing through you. Say it with power. My overflow carries kingdom purpose. This shift will transform how you operate. You will no longer ask for just enough. You will ask me, what should I fund next, Lord? You will no longer pray to survive, but to supply. because givers become rivers. And when you give according to vision, I keep sending provision. And now let me show you something else. Overflow increases when you prune what no longer serves purpose. Many of you are losing energy, time, and even money, not because I'm not blessing you, but because you're maintaining what I told you to let go. John 15:2 says, "Every branch in me that does not bear fruit, he takes away, and every branch that bears fruit, he prunes, that it may bear more fruit." You want increase, but are you willing to release that outdated system, that expired strategy, that draining partnership, that version of yourself I already called you out of? You cannot carry new wine in old skins. You cannot bring overflow into clutter. This is a season of refinement, not just for your finances, but for your focus. Ask me what needs pruning, then trust me as I cut away what steals your strength. Because on the other side of pruning is multiplication without burnout. Say it in surrender. Jesus, prune me for overflow. You'll be surprised how light you feel once you release what I never told you to carry. And in that lightness, you'll find clarity. In that clarity, strategy. In that strategy, flow. If this word is piercing your soul like fire, then I invite you, like this message now, not to follow a trend, but to place your yes in motion. Let the heavens and the earth see your agreement. What you honor will multiply in your life. Now pause. Let me speak to your next level of thinking. Because what I'm about to show you will shift not just your bank account, but your blueprint. You're not called to live from miracle to miracle. You're called to live in established blessing. My goal is not just to help you pay a bill. It's to bring you into a land where you build. And build you will. You've walked through pruning, you've surrendered what was old, and now I bring you into what many never reach, the rhythm of sustainable overflow. This is where you no longer fear the future, because you know who holds it. You no longer panic in dry seasons because your roots are deep in my economy. Let me release this next key. Overflow flows in systems of stewardship, not just moments of faith. Many of you live from breakthrough to breakthrough, miracle to miracle, seed to seed, but never stop to build the systems that sustain my supply. But I'm not just the God of sudden increase. I'm the God of divine infrastructure. Genesis 41 shows you this when Joseph is placed over Egypt. Pharaoh didn't just hand him power, he gave him the responsibility to organize, to store, to track, to protect. And because Joseph had order, he could handle abundance. I am calling you to structure your increase. Don't just wait for checks. Build channels. Don't just pray for cash. Design containers. A well without walls cannot hold water, and many have lost overflow because they lacked order. Say it now. Jesus, I welcome divine structure. This means budget with vision, map with purpose. Build your house as if a nation will come through it, because one will. You've been asking me to bless your field. Now I'm asking you, have you plowed it? Let's go deeper still. Overflow is attracted to integrity. The enemy will try to convince you that compromise accelerates increase, but I do not bless manipulation. I bless those who walk upright when no one is watching. Psalm 84:11 says, "No good thing will he withhold from those who walk uprightly." That's a covenant, not a suggestion. When you walk in righteousness, even your enemies will finance your future. I'll use unlikely people to bless you, because your character is my foundation. You don't need schemes, you need consistency. You don't need hype, you need holiness. You don't need shortcuts, you need staying power. Integrity is expensive, but it qualifies you for everlasting supply. Speak it boldly. My integrity unlocks inheritance. And now, because you've continued faithfully to receive this word, I give you this opportunity. If this message has blessed you deeply, you can support this prophetic mission by giving a super thanks of $111 to support the ministry. This is not an obligation. It's a sacred invitation. Your gift fuels the team that prays, creates, edits, and releases these words. It's not about money. It's about movement. Every offering helps amplify my voice into more homes, more cities, and more hearts who've been waiting for this divine release. If I'm stirring you, respond in obedience. If you feel led, sow in joy. Let your gift speak what your faith has already declared. I'm part of this prophetic assignment. And as you give, know this. I take notice, not for accounting, for alignment. Your seed is not charity, it's covenant. Now listen carefully. Overflow does not always look like deposits. Sometimes it shows up as delays that protect you, as closed doors that redirect you, as quiet moments where I refine your mindset so you can carry more. Deuteronomy 28:2 says, "And all these blessings shall come upon you and overtake you, because you obey the voice of the Lord your God." Blessings overtaking you, not because of hustle, but because of harmony with my instruction. That's why I've been quiet at times, not because I abandoned you, but because I was watching, waiting to see if you'd obey even when it wasn't loud. And you did. You're here. You kept trusting when you didn't see increase. You kept sowing when nothing moved. You kept writing when no one read. You kept declaring when your life contradicted your confession. I see you, and I've recorded every yes, and now I open the vaults reserved for the faithful. Let me give you this final law in this portion. Overflow follows the frequency of gratefulness. Gratitude multiplies. When you thank me for little, I release more. When you praise me for the progress, I multiply the pace. When you choose celebration over complaint, I unlock compound returns. Psalm 104 says, "Enter his gates with thanksgiving and his courts with praise. Give thanks to him and praise his name." You want access to my courts? Bring gratitude. You want entry to next level strategy? Start celebrating this level's provision. Speak it now. I choose gratitude even before the gates open. This is the posture of overflow. This is how your soul stays light and your flow stays strong. No matter what's in your account, what's in your soul must always be abundance of thankfulness. If you've been lit up, stretched, and filled by this divine revelation, I ask you one more time. Like this message now. Let it be a visible agreement. Let others scrolling find it because you pressed in. You've received much, but I have not finished pouring. Because the overflow I promised you is not a wave. It is a river, and rivers do not stop for circumstance. They move. They reshape, they carry, they carve out new places where nothing lived before. I am making you into a river, one that sustains life, feeds nations, and does not dry in drought. The next principle I must place in your spirit is this. Overflow rides on the rails of acceleration when you align with my timing. Many of my children try to manufacture moments I haven't released. Others sit passively, waiting for me to do what I already authorized them to act upon. But timing is not just about delay or go. It's about discerning the divine now. Ecclesiastes 3:1 reminds you, "To everything there is a season, a time for every purpose under heaven." That includes purpose wealth, appointed business windows, kingdom assignments, aligned relationship, strategic investments. I don't want you building prematurely, nor do I want you sleeping through the moment I'm setting things in motion. This is why you must ask me daily, "Lord, what's the timing for this vision?" Speak that now. Jesus, align me with your divine timing. When you're aligned with my clock, you stop chasing, and things begin to locate you. That's when overflow looks effortless, because it's not coming through force. It's coming through flow with me. I have angels assigned to escort what belongs to you into your hands, but they move on the sound of obedience. Not just prayers, not just declarations, but faith in motion. Let me take you deeper. Overflow accelerates when you partner with generational vision. You are not the first in your family I tried to bless. Others rejected the assignment. Others mismanaged the favor. But I am giving it to you, not to hoard, but to redeem the story. Genesis 17:7 says, "I will establish my covenant between me and you and your descendants after you, for an everlasting covenant." That covenant didn't stop at Abraham. It echoed into Isaac, Jacob, Joseph, and beyond. And now it echoes into you. You are the turning point. You are the Abraham in your lineage. You are the one I've chosen to break every cycle of lack, of striving, of smallness. And I will show you how to build for the generations behind you, even the ones not yet born. Don't just pray for income, pray for inheritance. Write the books, start the business, invest the seed, train your children, mentor the next. Build in a way that outlives you. Say it. I build beyond myself. This is what kingdom overflow looks like. It moves forward even after you leave the earth. When you align with legacy, I align legacy to fund your life now. Because I don't only bless vision, I bless what preserves purpose. And let me be clear, your purpose is not optional. I created it, carved it, called it into you. And now, as you obey, I stir the next level. Overflow unlocks when you activate prophetic imagination. Many are stuck because they can't see beyond what is. But I gave you a tool to break past limitation. It's called vision. Not wishful thinking. Holy Spirit-born pictures of what should exist through you. Genesis 15:5 tells of me taking Abram outside to look up at the stars. Look toward heaven and count the stars. So shall your descendants be. That was me enlarging his sight before I enlarged his reality. And that's what I'm doing for you now. I'm taking you out of your small room of familiarity. I'm lifting your head out of the fog of fear. I'm painting pictures in your spirit of impact beyond what your bloodline has ever seen. But you must feed what I show you. Protect what I reveal. Don't let others talk you out of it. Don't share it prematurely. Don't bury it in doubt. Nourish it. Write it. Develop it. Say this with fire. I receive prophetic imagination. Because as you begin to imagine with me, you'll stop reacting to the world. You'll start architecting the world you were born to change. I've given you this ability because you are a builder, not just a believer, not just a prayer warrior. You are a vision carrier, a reformer, a kingdom innovator. Your overflow is not just about survival. It's about setting things right in the spirit. This is the time to draw what I showed you. Design the vision I whispered. Speak into the void and call forth what should be. Because when your imagination aligns with heaven, I fund the impossible. If this message is confirming what you've been carrying in secret, pause now and like this word. Let your agreement rise like incense. Let it say, Jesus, I see it now. That simple act of faith might just bring another hungry soul to this exact moment of revelation. I'm still not done speaking. There are still laws to release, shifts to decree, and final steps to impart before I bring you to the final threshold. You've stood where few endure. You've allowed me to stretch your spirit, expand your faith, and rewrite the way you think about provision. You are no longer merely asking for help. You are learning to steward heaven's economy. And now I say to you, as clearly as I spoke to my disciples, do not store treasure where moth and rust destroy, but store it in eternal places, because the overflow I bring is not just for today, it is for what will last. Let me engrave this next principle deep in your spirit. Overflow is preserved by purpose-driven restraint. I do not give increase for indulgence, I give increase for assignment. This means you must learn when to pause, when to say no, when to walk away from opportunities that don't match my instruction. Proverbs 25:28 says, "Like a city whose walls are broken through is a person who lacks self-control." Do not let your success become your sabotage. Many pray for overflow but never master management. You don't need 10 more streams if you haven't stewarded the one I already blessed. You don't need more open doors. You need to walk fully into the one I already opened. Say it aloud now. I protect what Jesus provides. Discipline is not denial. It is preparation. It is me making space in you to carry weight without breaking. The enemy fears a believer who knows how to manage what heaven releases, because that believer cannot be shaken by markets, moods, or opinions. That believer multiplies. That believer funds nations. That believer walks in peace while others panic. Let me show you more. The world trains you to acquire, but I train you to multiply with righteousness. You've heard of compound interest, but I bring you into compound obedience, where one act of surrender triggers decades of favor. Psalm 112:1-3 says, "Blessed is the man who fears the Lord. Wealth and riches are in his house, and his righteousness endures forever." This isn't temporary reward. This is legacy in motion. When you operate by my financial blueprint, your children will inherit more than money. They will inherit a mindset, a pattern, a reputation of wisdom, a name built in the spirit. I'm not interested in creating millionaires. I'm building multi-generational reformers. Say this boldly. I'm building legacy with Jesus. I gave Abraham one instruction, and because of his obedience, nations were born. I gave Ruth one relationship, and because of her loyalty, kings were birthed. I gave Solomon one request, and because he chose wisdom, he became the wealthiest king of his time. Your overflow is not in the multitude of tasks, it's in the accuracy of one yes. You've asked, Lord, what should I focus on next? And I answer now. What was the last thing I told you to do? Because obedience builds momentum. And your next wave is not waiting on more motivation, it's waiting on movement. Let me open one more key to your understanding. Overflow follows environments of faith. If you keep planting your obedience in atmospheres of fear, you will see delay. Some of you are feeding your purpose with conversations, media, people, and influences that do not believe in what I placed inside you. And while I love those people, I did not call them to design your destiny. Mark 5:36 says, "Do not be afraid, only believe." That was my command to Jairus when the voices around him said it was too late. And some of you are in the same place, surrounded by voices that say, "You missed it. It's too hard. That's not practical." But I speak over you now. Only believe. Move the doubters outside. Clear the room if you have to. Guard your gates. Feed your faith. Protect the flow. Say it now. I align with faith-filled voices. The environment matters. Even seed with potential will die in toxic soil. And you are my seed of purpose, planted for such a time as this. So rise, clean the atmosphere, invite me in fully. Let faith saturate your day. Let worship overtake your worry. Let prophetic voices drown out the practical pessimism. Because when you host my presence consistently, you will not lack. You will overflow. And if this word is bearing witness with your spirit, if it feels like I'm confirming what you've been journaling, praying, crying over, like this message now, don't do it because I asked. Do it because your soul is saying yes. What you honor multiplies, and agreement is a door. You've made room. You've opened your heart. And now I take you into the final threshold before release, into the realm of bold, unwavering kingdom dominion. This is not a suggestion. This is a spiritual activation. Because overflow does not wait for the most talented, the most followed, or the most experienced. It moves through those who understand their authority in me. Luke 10:19 declares it clearly. I have given you authority over all the power of the enemy. Nothing shall by any means harm you. Yet so many still live as if they are powerless, deferring, hesitating, playing small, waiting for the world to approve what I already appointed. But I did not call you to blend in. I called you to build what doesn't exist yet. You are not waiting on overflow. Overflow is waiting on your voice. Declare it now with authority. I walk in divine dominion. Dominion does not begin in public, it is born in the secret place. It starts when you rise before dawn to command your morning, when you worship despite warfare, when you speak life when surrounded by death, when you sow in famine, when you bless those who betrayed you. That is dominion. That is how overflow knows where to land. I want you to hear this deeply. Your overflow is attracted to who you are becoming, not just what you are doing. It's not in the perfection of your task, it's in the posture of your transformation. That's why your growth in character, your stretching in faith, your softening in forgiveness, it all matters. It's the inner wineskin that must expand to carry what I'm pouring. You've been focused on the outcome. I've been focused on your capacity. Because when I pour in proportion to what can be sustained, not what looks impressive. Say this aloud. Jesus, stretch me to carry more. This is the hour where I raise up those who don't just tithe out of obligation, but live from overflowing conviction. I am shifting you from being reactive to becoming prophetic. You won't just follow trends, you will set atmospheres. That is why I've had you endure certain storms, because storms reveal if the roots are real. And your roots, child, go deep. Let me now bring you into a rarely taught but biblically consistent overflow principle. Multiplication by prophetic collaboration. Overflow doesn't happen in isolation, it happens in kingdom alignment. I brought Elisha to Elijah, Ruth to Naomi, Paul to Barnabas, David to Jonathan. Every generational mover was connected to divine relationships. Who you align with in this season determines how much I can trust you with. Proverbs 13:20 says, "Walk with the wise and become wise, for a companion of fools suffers harm." You are one aligned partnership away from prophetic acceleration. This means you must evaluate your circle. Are they fueling your faith or feeding your fear? Are they sharpening your assignment or slowly smothering it? You cannot carry overflow with voices that validate spiritual laziness. Say it now. I receive divine partnerships. I will begin to draw the right ones to you. You won't have to chase. Just obey. I will confirm it through peace, through shared purpose, through vision alignment, through fruit. These partners won't compete with your calling. They will complement it. And where 2 or 3 are gathered in my name, I promise I am there. And where I am, resource flows. I want you to understand this with spiritual clarity. Overflow responds to agreement. Agreement in your mind, your spirit, your habits, your friendships. When you become single-minded in me, double portions become your portion. That is what I gave to Elisha, not because he strived, but because he followed, honored, and aligned. Your Elisha moment is coming. But it requires leaving behind the cloak of comfort and walking with those who burn with fire. This next shift is about fire carriers, builders, prophetic architects, and you are one of them. Speak it over yourself. I am an architect of kingdom overflow. And that means you no longer chase provision. You release it. You speak to dry places and they open. You release content that ignites healing. You plant wisdom in the marketplace. You don't wait for platforms. You build from the Spirit out. Now listen, because I am not finished. You are about to see the things I whispered finally manifest in the natural. Dreams that tarried, promises that felt paused, blueprints that gathered dust. I am breathing on them again. Isaiah 55:11 declares, "So is my word that goes out from my mouth. It will not return to me empty, but will accomplish what I desire." The word I've spoken to you through sermons, songs, midnight prayers, secret whispers, it is now on assignment, and it will finish its work. So as you rise, build, create, and align, know that heaven is backing you. Overflow is not coming. It has already been released. You are just now stepping into its full current. Now I bring you to the final chamber of this revelation. You've walked through obedience, pruning, vision, discipline, prophetic instruction, kingdom alignment. And now I ask you, are you ready to live as one who activates overflow, not just prays for it? Because overflow isn't a reward for perfection. It is the natural state of the obedient, disciplined, Spirit-aligned child of God. I created you for more than daily struggle. I designed you to operate in perpetual kingdom circulation, where what flows to you flows through you. What multiplies in you multiplies around you. You are not the borrower. You are the builder. You are not the desperate. You are the distributor. This is your kingdom identity. And now I seal the final principle. Overflow becomes your reality when you live as an answer, not just someone waiting for one. You've cried for blessing, but now I ask, who will you bless? You've prayed for open doors. Now I ask, who will you let in behind you? You've asked for more oil. Now I ask, will you pour it? Because in the kingdom, poured oil never runs out. Let me remind you of 2 Kings 4, the widow and the jars. It wasn't the size of the room, the condition of the economy, or even the desperation of her situation that determined overflow. It was one thing: How many vessels she prepared. When the vessel stopped, the oil stopped. Don't stop the oil by living small. Don't stop the oil by withholding the idea. Don't stop the oil by fearing criticism. Don't stop the oil by holding on to offense. Stretch, building, expand, pour, risk, speak, go again, and again. Because I will keep pouring as long as you keep preparing. Say it now and mean it. Jesus, I will not stop the oil. I will bless your jars, I will multiply your last portion. I will use your little and make it more than enough. You don't need a backup plan. You need obedience to my original plan. And now I ask you to take part in this moment, not just as a listener, but as a kingdom participant. If this word has confirmed what you were carrying, if it has stirred your soul, activated clarity, and breathed life into your divine assignment, then give boldly and prophetically. Support our ministry with super thanks of $111, not as a tip, but as a testimony. This offering isn't for applause, it's a seed of obedience and alignment. You're sowing into revelation. You're empowering a faithful team who fasts, creates, edits, prays, and works in unity to deliver these words to millions who are dry and desperate for my voice. If you feel it burning in you, sow it in faith and let this be your declaration. I don't just receive overflow, I fund it for others. And now I ask something even more powerful. Share this word with at least 5 people. Yes, 5. People who are stuck, people who are broken, people who tithe but still feel barren, people who need revelation, not repetition. You might be the very messenger I assigned to bring them into their own overflow activation. Do not keep this light hidden. Spread it like fire. And finally, if you've felt deeply connected to this prophetic voice, if you want to go deeper, walk closer, build stronger in this season of divine release, I invite you. Join the God's Messenger membership here on the Sacred Voice channel. You won't just consume messages, you'll become a messenger, a builder, a part of this prophetic company of believers who are reclaiming territory, breaking lack, activating destiny, and funding kingdom advancement through alignment with me. Your membership isn't about content, it's about covenant. I will continue to speak, I will continue to release more. But what I've poured into you today, these are keys to overflow that most never hear. And now, you've heard them. Now, you know. So walk in them, speak them, sow by them. Build upon them and never again say, I didn't know what to do. Because I just showed you. And it wasn't tithing alone. This is your season, this is your strategy, this is your supernatural switch. Overflow is not a prophecy, it's now your identity. Amen.